There's a lot of emotion behind everything, and within that, it's hard as fuck. What's going on, guys? It's the motherfucking kid. Here we are again with Billy Woods. Wow, what a fucking December surprise. I know it's Billy Woods and Moor Mother. I'm not really too familiar with Moor Mother. I've never heard an actual LP by her or anything. I'm gonna go ahead and listen to the first one. I know this one's produced by Willie Green. I believe that's an in-house Backwoods Studios producer. Like, he produces a lot for Arm & Hammer and Billy Woods.
Outside the concentration, looking for a light. I know that vibe to the vestibule in your head, it's a timeshare. Madam Bovary with the good hair, I should have stopped right there. But the trick is off like the fever run its course, and what did I want? What did I want? What did I want? The four horsemen, Earth, BC, Beast, the dragon. Revelation trapping, I'm snapping. Women clothed in the sun, giving birth to shine. They don't want me to shine, cause I remind them of the fight. And they want me to dine. They don't want me to dine. I play the cork on the night. Feet of clay, hands alike.
I don't know why I was under the assumption that Moor Mother was a woman. I feel like there was a verse on a Quali Chris album or something like that, and it was like woman, so I was like, oh, this must be Moor Mother or something. And that first verse really took me out of it, because I think it's my favorite verse on the track, and now I'm just barely realizing that it's Moor Mother. The beat goes and goes and goes. The night hides in caves and holes. I like that line. Whispering, she answered, open robe, black body glistening. So he goes like in the middle of the night, and he knocks on this girl, on this black chick's door, and she opens it. She's like, what the fuck do you want? You know, four horsemen, Earth, BC, Beast, the dragon. Is he listing them off right there? Revelations trapping, I'm snapping. Conceptually, I like what Billy's portraying here, but the lines, I would have to give it to Moor Mother. I think he's saying like the most interesting bars to me right now on this first track, which is super interesting, because fucking Billy Woods is that guy for the one bars, just fuck you up.
Remembers everything the country forgot. Bloodstained sweat, slip knot. Stop with coke chain. More often than not, the game. No need to talk. No, it's the cop. Green lights and ball. Back to the plot. We waited and we watched. 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 Hey.
That vibe was heavy, like Haitian voodoo ritual. That track by itself, it just like it justifies the whole album. I'm really excited now. Such a flushed out track. It has a great kind of ominous chorus. I love how Moor Mother's vocals sound kind of like distorted, like if it's coming through like from the afterlife or something like that. It sounds spooky. Wolf Western's kind of like describing being in like this fugitive state, like there's always a target coming after you, and the mention of like where they occupy, it seems very much like she's talking about this oppression, and she's being, you know, discriminated against wherever she goes. The blues remember everything the country forgot. Like, art serves to be a type of historian type of thing, you know, the way artists are feeling, the way they perceive things, it gets pours into their art. Lynching swinging on the block, there goes the neighborhood, here comes mama with the Glock, bang bang. There's so much state violence in this community, so it's the mom that has to come out because she's had enough, you know, like she comes out with the Glock. No need to talk, notice the cops, 3 lights apart, back to the block. Back to the block. We waited and we watched, we waited and we watched, we waited and we watched. Fuck with that shit. Like, there's no need to like tell someone, oh, you know, like, watch your shit, they're right there. Like, everybody's on their shit, everybody knows what the fuck, because it's every day. Slow meat in the pot, like, just be patient. I would say Billy's performance is definitely better on this one. over more mothers for sure. I like that it's really short too. It gets to the point of it, and his repetitiveness, it just really hits home. It cements like what he's trying to say. I think essentially it's kind of like, oh, you just gotta wait and wait for history to absolve you. You know, history will absolve you, and it's gonna come through like this art. People are gonna look back and they're gonna realize, oh, okay, a more objective view, just because like the numbers, they're gonna speak for themselves too. Of course, you can always manipulate numbers, but there's just like a lot that you have to go through to kind of like examine what side was actually right.
No white saviors, look what happened to the Cubans. Reluctantly sold blood to my white neighbors when they moved in. Yep, that's right, oranges.
No, Cuba gets a lot of shit. There's like certain areas that you can look at and point to and be like, okay, this is clearly an area where that the revolution was actually good for the people. Like if you look at the literacy rates, the health rates, they skyrocketed. You know, the literacy rate, it was like a miracle, a worldwide phenomenon. How you can just get a society from like that literacy rate to the numbers that they had in such a short period of time. So like the education that Castro implemented, it was like phenomenal. No, Castro didn't do everything right, in my opinion, but still, like he did certain stuff that was like, oh, incredible, and look at what the white people did.
I knew it was over when I dropped the quarter in the class, washing and big ass looking at me like you are the gas. But what about the oil rivers, diamond mine rivers, H and all his bitches, Surreal riches. I'm just a blood pool. 10 seconds left with the earth in my hand. I'm the go-to source.
H&H, is he referring to the bank, or the clothing brand, child labor type of shit? I'm not sure. I really like that. I know it was over when they dropped the quarter in the class. Washington head ass looking at me like you are the gas. But what about the oil rivers, diamond mines? It's a whole idea of like, I'm not guilty, you're guilty. You know, like the way the society's run is guilty, and it made me the way I am. It compromised me. I like how Billy's talking about how like he fucked himself too when he sold weed to his neighbors. Like, oh, now everybody sees me that way, and of course they saw me that way. That's why they fucking asked. Bullshit. Now the locusts are swarming. Move, bro.
The longest race that's ever been known. Skull and bone, chaos and tone. The belt hold, ringing ears with religion. Calculated. The clock flocks like doves. Crying was what killing is now. Fat rendered down the slow process of change. Like voices, don't let them get a hold of the word, let alone the design.
It reminded me of the West Side Gun track where he features like Keisha Plum, where like the poet comes out at the end. But this is like the real poet, you know. Billy Woods is the fucking poet of poets. It's like that same structure. Like, of course, it comes in like real fucking hard. These past two tracks, they're so fucking good, bro. And like the themes, they connect with each other. Also sonically, it's just Billy Woods is such a good representative of the ethics that I believe I hold. And Mother Moore is like matching Billy Woods really fucking good right now. I honestly thought that I was gonna get a more melodic album, and that's what I'm getting. But it's coming through a different tone. It's coming from a very creepy tone, and I just fuck with it really hard. Mosquitoes bias, sickle cell have them hesitant to try it. Solomon and Midas, assassins need tyrants, the virus. Circling planes with yellow and ads for new diets. LED displays, Price Waterhouse, green span, fucking Iron Man. She came, finished him with her head. Rapunzel's hair kept growing, had the nails. It was quiet except the ocean falling like a veil. This shit is going hard as fuck. Her hairs and nails kept growing. What the fuck? This guy's like the portraits he paints are so fucking intense and surreal. Billy Woods is just one of the best artists out there. Period. You can compare this guy to someone like fucking Banksy, Mariana Abramovich. You know, shit. Like he is up there to me. Occluded moons, black flowers at the tomb, speakers hiss in empty nightclubs, the city's hum. This is intense, like, with the whole COVID going on, and the black flowers. It's everything's empty, but the speakers are still going. Like, people aren't dead, they're just not there. Mosquitoes bias, sickle cell have him hesitant to try it. Solomon and Midas. Assassins need tyrants, the virus. Oh my fucking god. Like, yo, he's just jumping from idea to idea. Hold on. Mosquitoes biased. Sickle cell have him hesitant to try it. The immunocompromised, they're the really scared ones, I'm not sure what it's referring to as Solomon and Midas. I'm guessing, like, some people are vulnerable, some people are not. Assassins need tyrants, the virus.
Watch a step in the slaughterhouse. We let death pass perfume. Yeah. Watch your mouth in my mama's house. The night ran quiet and the riot. Shit passing in the sand, offshore commission. Closed eyes, see bliss. While the righteous sharpen swords in the mist. It was quiet except the sirens yelled.
Seven of Swords yelled, I can take one more. I'm not sure what that reference is alluring to. Yeah, this verse seems very hopeful. I'm guessing because of the riots. Like, oh shit, I never thought this was possible. People, there's like an uprising, and it's very much centered around. It's centered around this identity issue that's been prevalent, and it's like just this unspoken truth. Like, oh, anything is possible. That's physics. It's the year after that. I like that line. Watch your step in the slaughterhouse. We let death pass curfew. Watch your mom in my mama's house. The night ran quiet, and the riot darkness guided. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Billy on this one too, just cause like his imagery is off the fucking charts right now. Like, he is really inspired. You can feel it. Maybe it's just cause like the beats are more melodic. Like, this one's like more like hippity hoppity, and like the other ones are just like smoother. It's not something that you could see off Today I Wrote Nothing. It's more like something that could maybe come off Known Unknowns. Mixture of Known Unknowns and Shrines. Archaeology featuring Elucid. Oh my god, this shit's about to be a fucking banger.
It's all to pieces, you penny shining, you tiny diving. What's one more, you crazy diamond? Biddy bye bye for the hand stained indigo. Where he finna go? I got a empty shotgun, bigger hole, tossing everything I stole. Fake gold snatched off the pharaoh's bones. Home manuscripts so old, no one looking for.
That transition was so fucking seamless. Oh my god. Fucking Elucid, he's like a bull in a china shop. Like, he fucking stepped in hard and just fucked with the whole energy of it. Like, he really, like, his presence is fucking known. And the way Billy transitions, it's like they're the fucking same person, bro. How is this not an Arm & Hammer album? It's making me want, like, an Arm & Hammer album with these type of beats. Blessed us, shook off the wet stuff. It's all to pieces. Real clever wordplay, I think. Dig a hole, tossed in everything I stole. Fake gold snatched off the pharaoh's bones. Book of poems, manuscript so old no one's looking for him.
Left his own devices, guess the password to a headphone, spit code, expose why. Stay out the mountains if you stay at the heights. That's where God lives, though.
A woman told me once, she said, all the good people have already been born.
Dungeon Hess. And you looking like you owe me money. You looking like you're stealing from me. Remind me of the ship. Flesh and price on my lip. The milk you stole from my tits. It's not over yet. Let's
Feats of clay. What the fuck does that mean? Is that a reference to something? I understand, like, the sentiment, like, you're primitive. You're like out there, you've paid your dues, you've survived, shit like that. But like, is there a reason why people say it a lot, or it's just like a phrase that some rapper made up? That's like my question. Like, or is it something from like a poem or like literature or shit like that? Woke in someone else's dream. Savage mode when left to his own devices. Guessed the password to a dead phone. Split code to expose wires. I like the line, woke in someone else's dreams. That's some Inception shit. They said stay out of the mountains if you're scared of heights. That's where God lives, though. I love how he says that shit. Like, what the fuck? How am I not supposed to go towards godness? The allegory of the cage, it's like, oh, you're going towards light, and like light is death, but it's like, what the fuck? Why would you go to light? Well, you have to go to light though. To remind me of the pain, to remind me of the bank, and you looking like you owe me money, looking like you stealing from me. Remind me of the ship, flesh of Christ on my lip, the milk you stole from my tits. It's not over yet, lest we forget. Tears and sweat. That little run he goes on, it's really fucking dope. And like the whole name he chose, More Mother. Yeah, the milk you stole from my tits. What the fuck? That shit's like, it invokes so much uh, imagery, sentiment. You know, there's a lot of emotion behind everything, and within that, it's hard as fuck. Like the culture, or the, you know, the life that you stole. It's fucking hard. This one's really tough. Who I think I would give it to, because they were all fucking functioning on all cylinders. It reminds me a lot of a microdose on Arm& Hammer Rome. Like, all three of those MCs are like fucking firing hard, and they got each got like their own fucking bar. That's like, what the fuck, you know? I think it really is about preference here, but I would give it to More Mother. I just really love that line. And the little passage of like, oh, that shit that you looking like you stealing from me, and then like you notice, and that they stole like life, so much.
Fences make good neighbors, like those mountains in Asia. Cavemen and caves building spaceships. 8 men enslaved, the 8th brain. Black Pete, Sinterklaas, tossed a couple coins at the whole feet. So
You owe and we here to collect. You know how it go over and that numbers scribed on butcher's papers. A bad wager we waved every day, but good offenses make good neighbors. Look at those mountains in Asia. Cavemen in caves building spaceships. Apes, 8 men enslaved. The apes brain sick from searching for they makers. Frustrated. I came for the bag like Black Pete. Sinterklaas? How they say it in where the fuck Black Pete's from. I think it's from Switzerland or some shit like that, Germany. I don't know where the fuck Black Pete's from. But Black Pete's like the black mask holiday celebration that they have. It's super racist. It's like a lot of people do blackface, but it's for a Christmas tradition. This shit's a fucking poem, bro. Like, are you listening to this shit? Cavemen in caves building spaceships. 8 men's enslaved. The apes brain sick from searching for their makers. He's kind of like the repo man in this situation, and he's just acting like according to like the law. You know, he's you know how it is, bro. Like, and they keep pushing your fucking deadline. You know, it's fucking done. You know what the fuck is up. He's kind of like very much describing primitive shit, like the butcher. Nobody goes to a fucking butcher no more. They just go to that fucking store, you know. And like cavemen's in caves. This verse is very interesting considering the situation we're in, basically like a Great Depression, and not a lot of people are paying their debts. It feels like there's a collapse on the brink of happening, and we're just barely avoiding it by persevering at this point. I don't know how we're even making it. Like that Black Pete line, just because it's very close to Christmas, and but the way he's referring to it, he is like the Grinch. It's hilarious.
why the trumpets play casually, sound like Albert Allah, like why these ghosts chasing me.
Once you have kissed the rain, we'll lay it down, we'll lay it down gently.
Like what she's singing about, like, oh, once you kiss the ring, we'll lay you down gently. Fucking just give up, bro. It really coincides with what Billy's talking about, being like the repo man, or actor of the state, actor of the system, whatever the fuck, you know. There's this constant use of like brass, you know, trumpets. I think this one's the one that's used it the best, and then like I like how he reference Moor mother refers to it like, oh, while the trumpets play casually, and then the trumpets are like playing. Well, the brass slowly comes in. It's super soothing. It's very serene. G ashes under the gala tree, under his dome, while we actually blank. Big beautiful catastrophes. I feel like some of this is going over my head. Like it sounds like Albert Einer. Why these ghosts chasing me? I'm guessing Albert Einer is like a brass player, a trumpet player, something like that. And he's dead. He's kind of like implying, oh, these ancient sounds, they're like haunting me. The past is haunting him. Super intense. It's very ritualistic. It very much embodies the artwork of the project. It was definitely worth what I paid for it.
Even then, it's what illusions said, don't mind me, I be hearing the voices in your head. Don't mind me, I be hearing the voices in your head. Go black, make it run with the band. Nothing to the madness. I only write for the dead. Something Lucy said. Long words cracked in the head. Fresh out, the love is there. I thought she was mad, now I know she was just scared.
And even then is what Lucid said. Don't remind me I be hearing the voices in your head. Don't mind me I be hearing the voices in your head. The use of trumpets in this fucking song is pulled off real beautifully. Mother Moore came in when he was like, simple and plain, put the thing in your brain, make it go blah, make it go rain with the pain. Method to the madness, I ain't holding no signs for change. He fucking went off. I only write for the dead, something Lucid said. We're both quoting Lucid because Lucid's fucking underrated as fuck. The last Arm & Hammer project, Lucid went fucking off, like all throughout that whole fucking project. Fresh out the womb, they jump you in, family in the waiting room, blood thicker than thin, blood thick, blood drip on the starter colors, blood thicker than water. Mama said, don't let anybody take what's ours. In other words, don't come home without it. Fucking shit. Billy Woods is conceptually like with the shits on this whole project. The idea of like, oh, you're gonna be in a gang for a day, and he's talking about like, okay, we're gonna do that shit, but bro, I'm on the fucking wire. Like, you're fucking stupid, you know. This is a fucking fantasy. And then he continues it with this like, oh, okay, shit got real, but your mom's still like, you know what? We need that. How the fuck you think we're gonna survive? There's a lot of pressure. From a trap house, when you think about it, ancestors is there, every room crowded. I thought she was mad. Now I know she was just scared. Is he referring to his mom? Like that she's forcing him to do this shit, and she's like disappointed that he's not pulling through. She was just scared to survive, you know. It's like taken back. Like you're no longer thinking about it emotionally, like up front. You're thinking about it, the emotions of everyone, big picture, you know. This shit is fucking creepy, bro. What the fuck? Holy shit. This reminds me of that project Negro by Pink Sifu. Like the whole vibe throughout that whole project. It's very much represented in this just like interlude. It covers a lot of fucking ground, and like it's just so angsty, like with so much emotion. And the brass, it still comes in like it's trying to calm you down, but shit is like really fucked up, you know. And sometimes like those sounds, they can be screeching, like the brass. It never really quite goes there, but like it's kind of like implied, you know, like, oh, shit can be fucked up still, like within your safe space. There is no safe space. Shit is overwhelming. It's like fucking it's all encompassing, this fucking shit. I like how he said it, like, oh, they think I'm you know, an N-word, and then like, oh, and they're right. It's fucking self-hating, but like in a sense of like, oh, everyone hates themselves at some point, and you hate the way you are, but sometimes you hate how bad you can be, and that bad can also be good, and it's like you know you like own it, and it's like that type of hatred, you know.
He fell in the hearse. You can't make this up. Well, I guess you can. Arms expand. The real imagine by the imaginary man. See all the heifers, this the view, the spirit, they spirit. My body, all the blessings, precious. My mind, body, soul is together. Smoke with me, the whole 50-piece flow so sticky, look easy. Ken Griffey swing so pretty, it's like a nigga cheating. Could really win it all. Tear the page careful and tape it to the wall.
The real imagined by the imaginary man. I don't really care too much for that first verse, except for the last part, how he ends it. Fell right in the curse and embraced with death. He fell in the hearse. You can't make this up. Well, I guess you can. And then arms expand. The reimagined by the imaginary man. I'm gonna go ahead and say Billy Woods definitely took this shit. He had the most interesting bars, the best performance on track. Halfpenny to ride the boat, an honest day's wage, but here you are, old and broke, tippy toes. Smoke with me or not smoke with me, the whole 50-piece. Flow so sticky it looked easy. You used to tear the page careful and tape it to the wall, this before you fell off. Or they put you on before you started smoking cigarettes instead of raw. Bo don't remember nothing about an 8-ball. This before Tope's rookie laminated in the top drawer, this when you thought you really could win it all. Tear the page carefully and tape it to the wall. Is he talking about like an old athlete? Kind of like in his heyday, that's what he used to do, and now it's not like, now it's not looking so good. You know, he's fucking dealing shit. He's trying to survive. Bro, it's like every time Makami's on the track with Billy Woods, they pick a beat that I don't fuck with. It's really fucking annoying. Cause I know that Makami, he like can get down. I wish they were on a better beat. I hold space that can't be curved, snake coil, ribcage of dark goddess. Hollow be thy name in the belly of existence, mystic knights of square fables, snake and man, lambs of sacrifice, mothers of darkness, a priest without his head, council of 33 inside the dome of heaven. 33 is a very significant number. I think like in the Freemasons they have 33 degrees that you can be, so like you can be like a 32nd degree maester or some shit like that. There's also this imagery of like the ribcage of dark goddess. Like Eve was made of the ribcage of Adam, so like what is made from the ribcage of a dark goddess? And I don't know, it makes me think of his name again, Moor Mother. It's very strong. It's very strong feminist vibes I get from it, from like the name, the implication that the mother is powerful. The rock cried, I can't hide you. They gonna find you. They gonna lynch you and call it suicide. Where are you gonna run to? The rock cried. The rock cried. What does that mean? The rock cried. It seems like it's very important. Like the rock, nature cried. I'm not sure what's being implied here. I feel like I've heard this idea before, like a rock crying, and it's not biblical, or maybe it is, but it feels like something like that, like mythological, something in a religious text or something like that. I had experiences on the stage that I don't think were possible, and then a strange thing happened. On the stage, I was complete and perfect, lacking no essential characteristics, nothing. The curtain came down, and who am I? Who am I? That's pretty intense. Like the artist gets so into the role, the perfect role. It's written so good, and there's nothing flawed about it. You know, even if the character itself is flawed, it makes sense. You know, and then you come back to life, and it doesn't make sense. Life doesn't make sense. So what the fuck? Where are you? That's a hard idea.
Hydroxychloroquine where unpacked and boxed up again with no point of origin. Everything overboard if they board us. And for the record, fuck reservation, rather swing the wind.
Hydroxychloroquine unpacked and boxed up again. That's funny because like people thought that that was gonna be the end all be all. Like, oh, there's a little bit of research that shows it helps in something, and then it gets blown out of fucking proportion. So then the the scientific community fights back against the misinformation, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, fucking put this shit back on the box, you know. Everything overboard if they board us. His own land feel foreign to him, and for the record, fuck reservation. Rather swing in the wind. Yeah, that approach is very anarchist. The stateless society, like, oh, you're giving the Native Americans, some land, when in reality, like, their tradition is no man owns the land.
It's too late for y'all, just inoculate the babies. Inoculate the babies. Product of the 80s, 1885, cut the pie, red filling, spill.
Who's gonna save the babies from all the caging? The truth is staging. Where's your
Xenophobia in Wakanda, they'll truck you to the Botswana border and tell you you're deported. In Kenya, Rwanda, you get one warning. They found Diana Foss face down in the morning, wet market hanging over human organs. Fucking Bitty Woods is like a warmonger right now. There's fucking xenophobia in Wakanda. Product of the 80s. I was just watching this documentary about how like this amusement park in the 80s was like fucking super hardcore. Like it had this loop, water slide, and some crazy shit. And I was talking about how like in the Reagan era there was this idea of, okay, the free market is king, you know, money is king. So like if it's making money, then it's all good. So less regulation is better. Nobody's regulating the kids. All of a sudden, it's very much like anarcho-capitalists for a short period of time. So like the product of the 80s, much like an attack on the senses, like the era, the 80s. It's just fucking shaping you in this super uncontrolled environment where it's like still they're exploiting you. Childhood is exploited. Save the babies from all the caging. It's been like fucking what, 2-3 years since like the kids in cages have started getting a lot of national attention, and still there's no like very big policy to redeem this. Not even redeem our history, but redeem like our present. Like what the fuck, we're still doing some bullshit right now in those camps. Like I saw recently that they're performing hysterectomies on women in some of the immigrant camps, and it's borderline like genocide at this point. So who's gonna protect the babies? The babies, like the future. Who's gonna protect the leaders of tomorrow? Like what the fuck? This shit is a genocide on them.
My head around me, drawing the lines around me, captive county, the queen of love's not dead, exiled Lagos, all eyes on me, but I hope you hear me.
All eyes on me, but I hope you hear me. That's a good line. Like just because someone's looking at you doesn't necessarily mean they're fucking paying attention to you. Just because they're listening to you doesn't mean that they're comprehending what.
Took it all and came home empty. They won't go gently. The whole world in my mobile. It took centuries. The glow unending. The show upended like pop.
Try to end our living and write at the same time.
Yes, but you see, points of principles.
Is that James Baldwin? I'm not really fucking with the chorus of that track, Smash Grab and Run, Smash Grab and Run. It was just really, it bordered on like obnoxious to me. It wasn't doing it for me. Took it all and came home empty. They won't go gently. The whole world in my mobile. It took centuries. The glow unending. The show upending. Especially because he started off with like, on the TV I see fire in the street. I see fire in their eyes, fire in the streets. From the fire escape I watch it eat. I watch its teeth. Dream fire could burn it clean. I love that line. It reminds me of the fire of Minneapolis, like the whole police station burning. So like he's kind of like seeing the whole chaos, the whole riots and everything, and then near the end, he's kind of participating in the looting, but he didn't really make a difference. Like, yeah, he took everything, but he didn't really bring home anything. There's no change, no tangible evidence that, like, oh, this meant something, like this changed the fucking, not just the conversation, but it changed the material means of society. Like, you came home fucking empty. Like, you don't give up, they won't go gently. And then the whole world in my mobile, it took centuries. Like, it took such a long time for us to get here, but now we're at a point where we know everything. We could know everything. We're super connected. So it's the war's not over. The battle's done, but like the war, it rages on. I'm not sure if the sample is James Baldwin, but it sounded like him. I'm not sure what he's talking about when he's saying like we've all become bureaucrats because we're not writing. Nobody taught us to write down. I'm not sure where the connection to bureaucrats is in that. Another elusive track, so hopefully this shit gets really fucking down too.
Recondition my deep conditioning. Leave me in the sun, belly up like a lizard. I rock bells to wonder who is it. It's me, dummy.
It's me, dummy. Me got my ring away, motherfucker. How much did you say? To me, forever young, forever in the zone of the one. No Neo, just old soul. Our green ashy ass elbows.
One time is all that I need just to be like, I know myself. My heart is intact, arrived from the cusp, retrofit to adapt to biohack is a privilege. My wires as is, I'm not sullen, is my present position. Can I recondition my deep conditioning? Leave me in the sun, belly up like a lizard, I rock bells. They wonder who is it. This whole elusive verse, it's channeling a lot of like Billy Woods energy. I like how he starts it. Hallowed be my name and my name sells. Hollowed bones, shedded scales. Oh, well, like cure thyself. Maybe light just ain't enough. Maybe light just ain't enough. That repetition. It's very Billy Woods-esque. Just repeating the line that you really want to get across. And then one more mother saying, "Yo, we gonna need that money right away, motherfucker. How much did you say?" It's like he is the repo man now. It's like he's reiterating this sentiment that Billy Woods had earlier, of like being an agent of the state. You're a cog in the machine. It's funny that like even though he's not really on the track, the presence here is looming. Like Billy Woods, he's such a force that like you can sense his presence, and he didn't even utter a word here. Forever young, forever in the zone of the one. No Neo, just old soul. Al Green, shiny ass elbows. You can't imagine a blacker future than me. I really like this guy's confidence in these bars right here. Has this Peter Pan vibe to it of like living in Neverland, like forever young, whatever the fuck. You wonder who it is. It's me, dummy. I like that because I think Lucid Enders bars like that too. It's produced by Alchemist. Hopefully, it's one of the best tracks on the album. Just like finish off hard. I like the horns. I love that he's gonna add some brass.
The son of Bruce paid a staff of volunteers. The acid was bad. The gift shop was packed. Congolese hands chopped and dropped in your gift bag. Parchment raped through by the sergeant.
Slip behind and lead in town. Something drawn earth seesaw. Me and Woods in a rickshaw being pulled by horses. I'm hearing voices. The sky was red. And noisy shells from bad asses. The cell we see the story. My
sword slick with blood. The Lord give it. Selfish belief in the idea something you can set up and bow down before and offer a sacrifice to.
The synergy in that track was fucking unparalleled to anything on the album so far. I love how each one of them had their own vibe to it too. Like when Billy Woods came in, like the beat would always be a specific beat, and then Mother Moors it would switch to a different one, more darker. Like Billy Woods had a lighter beat because it had I don't know what the fuck it was, like a flute or something like that. The son of a bruised orange, cloud spar, sky mauve. The light softest through filtered through gauze. Pause. I'm not sure what he's talking about there. The zoo had a decapitated giraffe. A dedicated staff of volunteers. The acid was bad. The gift shop was packed. What the fuck? This is one of those weirdo tells that Billy always comes out with. Like, what the fuck does this mean? Um, like they try to get rid of it in acid, but the acid was bad, or does he mean like the people were pieces of shit and they were on acid, like the volunteers? While we tiptoed around these landmines and fault lines, feel the earth move in flat earth, seesaw me in woods in the rickshaw being pulled by horses. I'm hearing voices. Ways of life, the sergeant yelled. Come over. His arms, king cobras. I fainted on sight. I like this picture. Moor mother's painting right here too. It's such a different, like they're not even connected. They're not talking about what the same shit at all whatsoever, you know. But it's so, it goes with the song because like they're just like switching from person to person. It's like an exhibition really, and like you're just turning around to see what's going on in each side of the room. Like he's painting a picture of like them traveling on this horse carriage, and they're kind of alone. Shit is crazy, but then like they make it to a sergeant that like corrupts them basically, or like clutches them, and he's gonna kill them basically. Train home, Messiah warrior asked me for change. I said no. They were shooting bison out the same train. Crack, lightning, gun smoke. Not a word, just brass peeing on the floor. Expressive 42nd defending by the tour of the weapons. Sword slick with blood, the Lord giveth. I like that the brass is like a constant. It just keeps following him throughout this whole project. Jazz, this soundtrack, it's either good or bad, but it's always there. And he's just an asshole, you know, like some guy's asking him for a change and he's like, fuck no. And at the end, it's the Lord giveth. There's no mention of take it, it's just giveth. No reaping consequences whatsoever. What redeems it is the idea only. An idea at the back of it. Not a sentiment pretense, but an idea and an unselfish belief in the idea. Something you can set up and bow down before and offer a sacrifice to. That's intense. That feels like a statement of like, it feels like a thesis of like a belief system. Like it's all about the substance. What is this thing you're trying to say? Is it worth dying for? Can you kill somebody for it? What is this thing you're trying to achieve? It's like gotta be an unselfish belief in the idea. Like not like, oh, something's gonna come from it, like a career or like legacy. No, it's the idea itself is gonna come into fruition. It can be applied to like, you know, art, for example. Like you want to create something that is authentic to itself, to what you set out to portray, not trying to compete in the marketplace, give you notoriety. No, it's gotta be authentic to what the fuck you're doing, what you're trying to say. It's the fucking idea. This is my favorite thing that's been said throughout the whole project, probably. You know, you can say that it's kind of like simple. It's like, oh yeah, okay, dude, what the fuck, I know. But like it's got to be stated sometimes, like just to make people remember, like, dude, don't come into something selfish. What are you doing? You got to think about what you're doing, because this shit is important, you know. It's got to be important.
People got a scar badly. Ball caps and keloids, dog tags, most of us alike. The foundation with a raft made.
You came to the show with the severed head of a demon, screaming, y'all ain't fucking with me, I ain't fucking for free. Half the timeline where y'all was whipping up salt pies, I had
The genders told my kid, don't let no white man take your picture. The way these motherfuckers act, maybe you really can't take it with you. I can't call it, just call the lawyer. Told the fortune teller, no spoilers. Thanks, brethren, we did it for the culture.
Strange way to live is in the far past. Why my black people got a scar badly. Bar caps and keloids, dog tags. Most of us like the foundation. Yeah, you know, like the ability to accumulate intergenerational wealth is not something that you just get over in a couple of decades, you know. We come in, I hold accountable the reaper. Tells from the creeper. Tells from the bottom of the 40-liter. Came to the show with the severed head of a demon. Screaming, y'all ain't fucking with me. I ain't fucking for free. That's hard as fuck. Like, imagine you see a show that like that, and then he expects a fucking thank you. It's fucking crazy, bro. It's kind of like a performance piece. It's a performance piece I wouldn't pay for. Told my kids, don't let no white man take your picture. The same agendas, the way these motherfuckers act, maybe you really can take it with you. There's a bunch of tribes that believe that, like, if you take someone's picture, you kind of like take their soul. I always thought like that's kind of like backed up by some evidence. You know, a lot of studies show that more narcissistic people take selfies. So like, and people that are constantly taking selfies, it's because like they have no soul, you know. And then you can think about it like spiritually, like what is a soul? It's light, you know. And what is a photograph? It's just like it's taking light, you know. It's capturing light, and it like literally captures your soul in a spiritual sense. Like, don't let these motherfuckers take your picture. The way these motherfuckers act, maybe you can't really take it with you. You know, I feel like it completely separates from the verse, right, from the word right before it. Like, now he's talking about wealth, you know. Fucking accumulate that shit, because like the way they're acting, you know, they're gonna have that shit forever. Told the fortune teller, no spoilers. That's my favorite fucking line on the track. I learned the game from Miss Porter. Bow my head, one eye open. Give thanks, Brendan. Give thanks, Brendan. We did it for the culture. This reminds me of that De La Soul album, Thanks from the Anonymous Nobody or some shit like that. And it's basically that sentiment, you know, like we fucking did it not for us, but we did it to like push the genre, push the art form. I like that Portrait is like a show, you know, they're putting on a show, and that's like the way they see it. They're painting pictures with their words. So like at the end they both bow, and also how Billy was talking about how you need it's all about the idea, and the idea needs to be so big that you can bow to it. So like this is their idea, like the words can move people, you know, it can move conversation, and like the discourse, it affects like systems. I think Brass is basically like this soundtrack that follows you. I think the first half of the project was definitely stronger than the last half, but the last half, it had, I think, some of the best bars. Just the first half had more better conceived songs, like the structure of the songs, the melodies and shit. I remember like when the project started, it started off hard, but by the second half, it was more about like the words I was taking in, and like that was where the intensity was coming from. It was really hyping me up, like the way the sonics were in the beginning. Even like the Alchemist beat, like I expected it to be you know, quote unquote banger, but it was more used, like he used it narratively to structure this like exhibition, you know. This whole project, it was really fucking dope. It reminded me so much of Atrocity Exhibition. It feels like I'm in a museum, and I'm just like looking at different art pieces. It's fucking awesome. I would say it's like a 9, but in the general like discourse, I wouldn't be shocked if people were like, oh, this is not like that dope. But to me, this fucking shit is really dope. Also, Moor Mother definitely got on my radar after this. Like, he was definitely fucking going bar for bar with Billy. I think overall, Billy's just like the presence that I'm here for, and he pulls through. So like I'm mostly here for him, but More Mother's just like a pleasant surprise. I would give it like a 9.1 for sure. Billy Woods is really pessimistic. I remember there was this line a long time ago where he was like, "Oh, when they say revolution, don't believe the hype." So with like this uprising, it's really cool that like it feels like this inspired a lot of these poets underground. Elucid, War Mother, shit like that. Quality Chris received like right before and then right after the collapse, basically.
Socialism is when the government does stuff. And it's more socialism the more stuff it does. And if it does a real lot of stuff, it's communism.